You know, I bleed, I can create, I can do all of this stuff. But what I will get back to you. So what was your original question? Was how do I know the signs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know that the week leading up to my period, I know that I have to stop. The overwhelm becomes extreme. I know that I can't book a lot of stuff in. I'm an emotional wreck. I'm very emotional around that time. So I have to be very, very careful with my energy because I'm a natural empath anyway. And when you've got a really heightened state of emotions as an empath, it can take you down. So I'm really aware of the week leading up to my period that I have to really up my self-care game, that I have to be really choosy whose energies I am in, because if it's a negative energy, it will take me down. I have to ground. I literally have to stop because otherwise I lose myself for 3 days in just a heap. Once my period comes, the relief, I get that like, oh, it's here. My hormones are shifting again. I'm feeling a lot brighter. I feel much stronger. My brain feels clearer. But I know that week leading up, not to plan too much stuff in because I cannot cope. And it's okay to say that because the rest of the month I'm kicking it. So, you know, 1 week a month, I have to just be really mindful of my energy and energies that I'm absorbing from others.
How long did it take for you to acknowledge the shift in your energy?
Do you know what? I've only just started noticing this about a year ago. That's the tragic thing. I've wasted so much of my adult life. I'm hitting perimenopause now, so all this newfound knowledge is going to be wasted on me. But like I said, I'm passing it to my daughter. I can see her cycle. I can see her mood change. I can see her energies shift, and I can help support her through it. So the other day, she had massive overwhelm. She was crying. She didn't know why. She was like, I don't know why I'm crying. I'm like, you don't need to know why. Just allow it to happen. You know, and I said to her, what I do in the shower when I feel like that, I get in the shower in the morning and it sounds a bit weird, but I touch my whole body, reconnect with my body, kind of like absorb my own energies. I'm like, I am safe. This is me. This is real. Because when you're in that overwhelm and you're stuck in Instagram or whatever, and the whole world is in your head, you need to bring it back to you as one single human being. And I tell her to do that. And she said, I was like, how are you getting on with that shower thing? And she was like, I've been looking in the mirror every day at like my whole body and just saying, this is you are safe. And that's what we can pass on. And it's a shame that I've only learned that in the last year. But I think it's only just becoming available, so accessible now that you didn't see this stuff before. Amazing women like you and Maisie Hill and talking about period cycles. Who else is there? Women with Sparkle. She's an amazing advocate for it all. It's so accessible to all different people now that different people are listening and are absorbing it. And for the younger generation, whatever we learn, just feed it back to them so they've got it early doors, you know?
I think that's such a powerful gift that you gave to your daughter, you know, allowing her the knowledge that it's okay to connect with your body. And because I think, you know, thinking about to when I was a teenager, there was no connection with my body. I hated my body. And have something like that where it's just about even just looking in the mirror and saying, you were safe. I think, wow, it gives me chills thinking about it. And just going back to what you were saying about your energy and how you've been able to connect with it. Do you ever feel like you resist this time of either slowing down or on the other side, thinking about when you're ovulating? Where your energy is at its highest? Do you feel like you need to just fit everything into that week?
Do you know what? I'm human, and sometimes life is busy around that week where I've got nothing to give. I just have to really up the self-care. I just really have to up the self-care. Everybody has 1 minute a day where they can lay flat on the floor. And actually, Susie Redding, who wrote The Self-Care Revolution, I had her on a podcast once, and she said to me, everybody has a minute where they can lay on the floor and say, for now, the world can wait. And that's for 1 minute a day, the world can wait. You know, it's about those tiny moments of joy that Live 360 talks about, but finding your tiny moments of joy and maximizing your self-care where you can. And I'm not talking about hot baths. I think we're well beyond knowing that self-care is not just about a bloody bath with petals in it. I'm talking about making a nice cup of tea and just sitting in silence. My favorite mug, you know, the most simplistic act of self-care can still have some kind of impact. But when I'm in that slow week and I've got a load of stuff booked on, I have to do it. I still have a life to live out, but you also have to just be really mindful of just calming down when you can. The ovulation thing, yes, I do feel like when I'm in my sort of spring summer cycles, I know I'm so creative then that I do try and bulk load a load of work, content and stuff, because I know that it's going to dwindle out, which does also bring with it a frustration. You know, don't get me wrong, I'm not like the biggest lover of the whole cycles all of the time. Sometimes I'm like, sake, I can't afford to crash right now. I'm too busy. I can't afford to have winter. I've got to keep going. And it can become a bit of, like you say, the resistance, not so much resistance, but frustration that I can't just keep charging ahead 24/7, 30 days a month, you know, that I do have to allow myself time out. But you know what we're going to do? It is what it is. We have to expect it. We have to acknowledge it. We have to respect it. And yeah, it's not going anywhere, babe. It's just like, work with it. Don't work against it. There's no point. It's futile.
I think it is really powerful. And I think we wouldn't be human if we didn't have, especially knowing that the culture that we live in really puts a lot of emphasis on this work, you know, the grind, the entrepreneur grind. And so taking a different perspective on that, there's going to be resistance not only from probably inside yourself, but others, like saying, well, why aren't you working right now? You know, capitalism demands it.
Right. Not just capitalism, feminism demands it, actually. You know, feminists, we all are fighting to have it all. I question whether I want it all, actually. I'm not sure that I do want it all. I think I'm quite okay just having bits of it, because to be what is expected of us as women is pretty unachievable when you can factor in our cycles. You know, we cannot be on it all day, every day. We can't. And actually, I use the Flow app. It's an app called Flow, and on there, you can give them your partner's email address. This is the best piece of advice I can give to anyone. You give your partner's email address, okay, and they work with the cycles, and they will email your partner where you are in your cycle and how best they can navigate that. And that has been an absolute relationship game changer. One, in that he completely understands. It's non-biased information. It's not me shouting, but I've got my period, be nice to me. You know, it's proper education for him, and non-biased, so he knows it's not me just pulling on him. And secondly, for me to be validated in my feelings, you know, because we can quite often dumb it down and go, for God's sake, I've got to take a day off work because my period, it sounds ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. But actually, it validates what you're feeling. It's like, yeah, of course you feel tired. Your body is working overtime right now, trying to release these eggs and do what it needs to be doing. Your uterus is twice the size. You're lugging that round, you know. That's why your belly feels like it's exploding. But it validates everything that you're feeling, which gives you then the permission to say, okay, this is why I'm feeling like this. It's okay for me to stop or slow down. But the genius, I mean, the other day I was totally woman down. I spent the whole day on the sofa. I was fortunate enough that I could just block out everything, spent the day on the sofa eating digestives. And, you know, my husband comes home and he's gingerly around me because he knows something's going amiss. And he said something, I snapped at him, and he was like, geez, are you okay? I was like, did you not get your email? You know, and that's it. The conversation could end there then, because he's like, I'll just go and check my emails now, you know, and it gives them a really good understanding. So for a relationship, it's genius in all areas.
I think that's really interesting. And, you know, I love the idea of, you know, the email being sent to the partner. But the other thing I wonder is sometimes it can lead to the area where that creates expectations around behavior. So like, we're supposed to be moody cows before we get our period. And I got the email, so you know, you've just got your period, so I'm just gonna, what should I say around you? And some of the work that I do is really focused around the fact that, you know, you don't have to feel like that. You don't have to be a moody cow. Yes, your energy might dip, but it's not necessarily inevitable. So I think that's a really fascinating way of getting your partner have him have a greater understanding of what's going on with you and your cycle. But sometimes what I see, and I've seen this in workshops that I've given, is this expectation of, I'm supposed to be in pain, I'm supposed to be moody, and that's just the way it is because I am a woman and I have a
yeah, you're so right. You're so right. And I'm just sitting here wondering if, and actually sometimes I do use it as an excuse. I may not even be feeling those things, and especially with him, because I'll just be like, bloody men, you don't have to deal with this, and I do ham it up a bit sometimes, that's for sure. And I'll be like, you need to go and get me a Big Mac because I feel really rubbish. It does also, yeah, you're right. Oh, well, that's given me a new slant on it now for next month. Thank you. Although let's not tell him. Can we not tell him, please? Because I quite like the martyrdom sometimes.
So you mentioned that you use the Flow app as part of your kind of what I call menstrual health admin. Are there any other things that you use as part of your menstrual health admin that you'd like to share?
To be honest, no. I'm reading Maisie Hill's book. I'm just getting involved, I think. Just read whatever you can. Follow the accounts your account is amazing. You know that I love what you do. Your little tiles about nutrition, just absorb where you can, information where you can. There's so much accessible information to us now regarding our menstrual cycle. Podcasts, this one, there's loads of amazing podcasts around menstruation. Yeah, just find those people and educate yourself and be willing to listen to what's going on with you. And like you say, it might not fit. It's not one fit for all, is it, right? We all do it differently. Definitely some kind of charting, however you choose to do that. There's loads and loads of different apps out there. I know there's like drawings you can do, mindfulness colouring ins and stuff like this. But number one is chart your mood, chart your discharge, chart your sex, your libido, chart your food, everything, just to get an idea of who you are and how your body's functioning. But I like to keep it basic, babe. I'm Instagram and Flow app. That's where I'm at.
And so is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners about what you've learned about your period, or what else you want to know about your period?
Well, do you know what? And it's an obvious one. What I really want to have the conversation women to be conversing about is the disposable menstrual products. This is obviously going to come up in this podcast. I am just about to launch my reusables. Since I have started the process of having my reusables designed, they're made in the UK, by the way. They're manufactured in the UK by a factory. I've got a designer we've laboured over the design for the last 9 months, and we're just about ready to order the first lot. And the research that I've done in that time about the effects of disposables is horrifying, not only to the planet, which is where I started. I was all about the landfill and, oh my God, there's like in the UK alone per year, 200,000 tons of menstrual waste currently sitting in your landfill, which when you consider the weight of a tampon or a pad, that's a huge mass of substance sitting in landfill emitting into the atmosphere. And they take 500 to 800 years to decompose. I mean, those figures alone are enough to make you think, Jesus, what we're doing. 4 carrier bags per period pad. If you are not using carrier bags with your supermarket shop because you can't bear the guilt, really consider that there are 4 carrier bags worth of plastic in your sanitary pads, the current disposables. The other option, of course, is the organics that biodegrade in 12 to 18 months and don't have all the chemicals. But we need to talk about these chemicals, which are, there's up to 3,000 chemicals in disposable products. There are microplastics being absorbed in our bodies through our vulvas and vaginas, and we're taking them in as a chemical disruptor into our endocrine system, which I know you know about, and that is affecting our physical, personal feminine health. It is a massive issue that we need to start looking at alternatives around. Now, I'm not like buy my pad. My message is have the conversation with women, make informed choices. If you are happy to use those disposable products and you can get your head around all of that, knock yourself out, my darling. I don't judge. This is your life. But if you're open to the idea of looking for alternatives, menstrual cups are not as scary as they seem. There's an Instagram account called Put a Cup in It, which is completely non-biased advice in all cups. And in fact, my daughter done their little quiz and got herself a cup and she bloody loves it. There's obviously the period pants and the reusable pads, which I'm bringing out, by the way. Wear them out pads, by the way. But please, please, please educate yourself on what menstrual products you're using. The impact that that's having on your body, sitting on those chemicals and those plastics.